What's up, y'all? Shuffle. In today's video, or I guess tonight's video, because you know it's nighttime for me, is an Exemplar guide. I haven't made many guides for the game yet. The main reason is I'm waiting for various patches and stuff, and I don't want to have to go back and redo my guides, but you know what, maybe I should anyway. Who cares? But this is for Exemplar, who is a cultist boss that shows up right before the mountain, and honestly, he is probably the biggest roadblock for probably everyone, you know, like new profiles, new players, returning players. Even if you know the game and you've beaten it a bunch of times, like Exemplar can still kind of mess you up. So it's a difficult encounter. I've been reading a lot of salt about it, understandably. You know, people on Darkest Dungeons Discord, Reddit, and stuff, in my chat room, my Discord and stuff, which you should be joining. Also, we have a Reddit of our own now, a subreddit. I'll put it under the video. I know I don't tell you to like and subscribe, but you know what? Click the box and join the subreddit. So there you go. We'll do some reviews on stream. All right, start of the video. So Exemplar is a difficult encounter, and pretty much everyone's gonna run into it as a roadblock early on, especially with new profiles, or even if you didn't reset your profile and you're just starting off with the Altar of Hope and you have no upgrades. Exemplar is going to be pretty difficult. So this video is to help you overcome this dude at least more consistently. I'm not going to promise 100% win rate, but this way you'll at least know how the fight works and what to do. So this is Exemplar's move list. So thank you to, I believe Ellie gave this to us in Discord. So thank you for the picture. And if I got it wrong as someone else, I apologize. But this is Exemplar's move list, and I'm going to flashbang you. So get ready, as in big, you know, white background Google Sheets thing. And Hall, all right, here comes. Oh god. Hall was nice enough to pull all of the stats out for Exemplar and give it to us as a sheet. So we're gonna go over what Exemplar can do, how to counter it, and then I'm gonna show you some example stuff too. Actually, I'm gonna put the example at the end. You can see how I do it. But yeah. So with Exemplar, we'll talk about Exaltation probably last. That's like the important move to talk about, but the first one that everyone sees is Prelude. This is what Exemplar almost always opens with. And then it combos, so you get the combo token, and then it hits you with the Fall. This is the 1-2 punch this boss likes to do. It does a ton of damage, it combos, and it focus fires someone, plus it puts a very nasty 6-point blight on top of them. So even if, you know, you don't die to either hit, you're probably on death's door anyway, unless you're a tank. And if one of the two hits crits, you're at death's door, and then you have a chance of dying on your turn. So it's very scary. So how do we stop this? Well, with Prelude and the Fall, you know what? We have to go through all the moves first, actually. Let me talk about these. So Rapturous Beauty. This, it looks like a cleave. This only hits 2 targets. Same with Exaltation. But it can use this from anywhere. It hits 2 targets. It hits them with Vulnerable, and then it hits them with Horror. And this, the Fall is, I believe, 2 stress. We'll have to double check, but what happens is, in between getting hit by Prelude and Fall, you get hit by Rapturous Beauty, and if any of these combination of moves hit like the same person, they're dead or death's door. You know, it's very scary. You have to get around it. Pillar of Sacrifice, unlike the other cultist fights in the game where the Evangelist or the Altar, for example, gets 2 worship tokens, that's this orange one right here. If they normally get them and there's like a deacon or a cardinal, they feed them the worship and they stay alive and they stay on the field. The Pillar of Sacrifice is the Exemplar killing the unit and then getting worship, restoration, and 2 repose tokens on top of it. So what happens here, the most common combo is Exemplar uses Prelude and then Fall and gets a worship token. The unit that's with it, it starts with an Altar, gets 2 worship, and then Exemplar eats it, and then Exemplar hits you with Exaltation right away, and then summons it back. So Exaltation hits 2 units for a ton of damage, and then it summons an extra thing, like an extra cultist, and the cycle repeats. So the reason this fight feels so oppressive is that you're taking a ton of damage in the opening, and then it gives you a little bit of a breather with Rapturous Beauty, and then it eats its unit, like its ally, and heals off a lot of the damage you've already done, makes you not want to hit it because of riposte, and then it hits you with a ton of damage and summons another unit, and you're already on the back foot. Like, in 3 turns, this boss can put you away. So it's very scary. How do we deal with it? Okay, back to the flashbang. So Prelude and Fall. So between these actually got nerfed, thankfully. But the Ordained damage is what we need to look at, because Exemplar is almost always going to be Ordained. It's a 90% chance for it to be Ordained. So we really aren't banking on these numbers. We're banking on these ones right here. So 8 to 14, the 6-point Blight that pulls you and does combo. And then we have, this could be 6x4 too, I believe, with the Ordained buff, because it adds an extra duration of damage over time. So this could be a 6x4 Blight. That's huge. It's nasty. And then hit you with the Fall, which is 14 to... Can I stress this out? I guess not. 14 to like 20 something. I want to say like 22 or 25 or something, but yeah. Anyway, it hits hard, right? So it does 2 stress, it removes combo, and the important part is it gains worship. It can only gain worship if it combos the Fall. So that means if you are able to defend it with Man-at-Arms or Bounty Hunter, who has a guard move, then the Fall still goes off, the combo's still there, but there's no worship. So that really slows down the cycle of exaltation and the extra adds. The Riposte is pretty nasty, 8 to 14 damage. With this 10 crit feels much higher, honestly, but I guess it is 10. It is pretty hard. You really don't want to swing into this unless you have a tank that has block, or you can put weaken on it. Those are the only 2 times you want to, or if you have dodge. Like, you don't want to swing into this when you have nothing, like nothing defensive, right? So the other moves to watch out for, well, not really to watch out for, but Rapturous Beauty, 1 Vuln Horror. This, like I said, this is the breather move. This is the one you want to see the most, because it doesn't hit too hard. You know, it horrors you. Stress really isn't a huge factor in this fight. Like, there is a bit of stress that comes out of the boss, but this thing is going to kill you before you melt down unless you come in there with like 5 stress on everyone. So we really want to stay alive with our HP. And then finally, Exaltation hits 14 to even more damage on 2 targets, and it summons an ally, and it clears worship from the Exemplar. So it's a lot of information. So the best ways to handle this boss, this is something you should be planning for early. And you can do it before you start Region 3, but if you go into Region 3 with no prep, this fight gets insanely harder than if you start prepping for it early. And so when I talk about prepping for it early, there are actually a couple things I need to pull up. Okay, so these are your preparations before you go into the encounter. This is the Poultice that gives you Blight Resist. This is an in item. It increases a hero's Blight Resist by 25 when you use it, and this can stack as many times as you want. Blight Resist trinkets are very helpful, so your tank doesn't die to Prelude, but if you don't have that, or if you don't want to use that, or if you only have like one of these, that's how you get your Blight Resist up. You should try and cap it out or get it as high as you can on your tank, and then any leftovers go to the rest of the people. But if you can get like 2 or 3 of these before you fight Exemplar, good. If you can get more, even better. So if you start seeing these like as rewards, pick them up. If you have extra gold, buy them. Anti-Venom. Every profile should have this when it starts. Same with this thing here. But this cures Blight and then heals you for a little bit of HP. This isn't a better healing item than Salve, but if you have nothing else, this is still good enough. So it's worth having. So if you find these, at least try and keep 2, maybe 4 max. Holy Water. You need to get this out of the altar, the working field section, the combat items. But what this does is it removes combo. So as we were talking about before, with Exemplar, Prelude comboing us and blocking the Fall is how we win this fight. And so having Holy Water that can cleanse your combo is a good thing. Healing Salve also from the slot machine. If you can find this, great. You know, it's the best healing item and it helps. You don't want to go overboard on these. Like if you have 4, that's usually good enough. Otherwise, you know, some combination of like Holy Water or other items you're about to see could also be just as good. Let's see, Neutralizing Powder. This is Blight Resist. Blight Resist plus 40. The Exemplar gets 2 actions a turn, I believe, so this really goes a long way. because it basically gets like, you know, potentially 4, 5 procs or whatever of resist, which is really good. So if you don't have enough of this stuff or resist trinket, this is good in a pinch. And stacks to 4. Smoke bombs are another great answer. So if you really just find a bunch of these, especially on a fresh profile, then smoke bombs can save you. You know, you could have like 4 of these, even 6, especially if you have no healing items. And you could just try and blind the hell out of Exemplar, because it's 2 blind tokens per smoke bomb. And that's effectively 1 turn. So if this sticks, you're giving it blind for a full turn of actions, which is good. You know, that could save you. So don't sleep on the smoke bombs. That's how a lot of people get through it. And then finally, invigorating intoxication, I believe. This is the death blow resist potion with the lower death blow resist cap that all the heroes have because of the altar patch. If you unlock, I think you have to unlock these. I can't remember if these drop in a fresh profile, if you have to unlock these, but I digress. It's 25% extra death blow resist, so if you find some, it's gonna be really good for your tank to help them stay alive. And now, as far as characters for Exemplar, I don't think there is a better unit for this fight than Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms is almost like a 1-to-1 counter for Exemplar. Like the other tanks, such as Leper and Hellion, can do it. Leper's probably the second best, but there's really no one that handles this fight like Man-at-Arms, and I'll show you why. So, the most important skills for Man-at-Arms in this fight are Defender, and the reason is, as we were talking about before, when there's Prelude and there's a combo token, we can throw Defender on that target, and especially if it's Master, they get 3 guard tokens. That means that Man-at-Arms can just soak up, you know, a bunch of attacks that are trying to hit the combo target. Really good. Plus you get block or block plus out of it, which is very, 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 very good. Bolster, like I said, this isn't really a stress fight, so you don't need that too much. Although it does cleanse the vuln, which is nice. And then you have movement skills to get up front too, like Rampart or hold the line if your team gets knocked out of position. But the next one we need to talk about is Bellow. So Bellow, even without upgrade, this is, I believe, his first shrine unlock too. So if you are on a new profile, just take him to 1 hero shrine, you get Bellow. And Bellow clears riposte on use. So when this guy eats a friend and gets riposte, you can just shout it off. So you don't have to take that 8 to 14 damage hit. And this just, there's no dodge on Exemplar, so this never has a risk of missing. I don't even think there's blind in the fight outside of Evangelist and Cherub, if it can summon Cherub, I can't remember. But yeah, so if you have Bellow, riposte Assault. Just, you know, play it slow till it pops up and then get rid of it. And then finally, the next thing to talk about is Standfast. Actually, there's one more to talk about. Standfast is just good on its own, but Mastered gives you a ton of block, so you get block plus when it's mastered, and it removes combo. So Man-at-Arms can effectively just prevent the fall from going off, which is really good. The final move to talk about is Retribution. And Retribution got nerfed, so it's not as good as it was. It's still a great move. And this is just more taunt and block to help you survive. So Man-at-Arms has so many buttons to deal with everything that happens in this fight that I cannot see a better character than him. Plus, he's one of the starter characters, so everyone has access to him right away. So if you're having trouble with Exemplar, and you just don't see how to do it with the starter team, level up your Man-at-Arms game. That's what's going to get you through it. The other ways to handle this fight, since we're looking at the moves, there's kind of a discussion between people I've seen about killing the ad that it spawns with. In fact, let me just put this on in the background so you have something to look at. That's on my face, right? There's one thing that people do talk about with this fight, and that is, do we kill the ad or not? And being able to kill the ad that this thing summons, it really depends what your team is capable of. You're going to see me kill it at least the first time in this fight. This is my first fight against it since the update, but ever since then, I really just don't attack it. I don't feel like it's worth it, but some people do, and I'll tell you when and why to do that. But the reason I personally don't attack the ads anymore is, you know, this team has a lot of damage on command, on setup, which is really good. But, you know, this altar that spawned in the back, it's ordained with a block token, and it has 28 life to start. That is way too much damage, too many turns to sink into killing that. Unless you have something like a team that I'm showing off here. But otherwise, ever since this, I really don't go for this anymore. It just doesn't feel worth it. Because people are always worried about the regeneration or the restoration that Exemplar gets from eating its friends. And it's 18 health that it restores. So if you think about it, why sink 28 damage into the helper, like the ad, or 32, I think if it's an evangelist? Why sink in all that damage when it just heals for 18, you know? I personally don't see much merit to attacking the ad, unless, like I said, you have a ton of damage and a good strategy. So if you are like me, you can try and just never attack the ad. It sounds like it might be dangerous, but honestly, the extra turns you get to put in damage are much better, and they're very noticeable. So if you want to focus fire Exemplar and just make sure you're being careful with your tank stats, or your tank abilities, I should say, like who you're guarding, when you're guarding, what healing you have access to and stuff. If you're very careful with that, then the ads really won't matter in this fight. And like right here, I'm trying to rely on dodge to dodge the fall and stuff like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But also you got to make sure you don't kill your tank when this is happening, by the way. But the only other time you would kill the ad, okay, so this is if you want to go that route, you can. So you kill the altar, and as long as you prevent exaltation, you will never see another ad again. So if you're really good at that, then killing the ad is the right choice. But if you're not, and for most teams, I feel like it's better to ignore it. And so what happens with the ad summoning, the way you do that is if, by the way, Highwayman's very good for this fight, because if you have any way to get combo from anyone else, you can take aim pistol shot, which has a 60% chance of stunning, and that can really disrupt this fight, which is really good. But besides that, if you do have a team that can really disrupt what this thing is doing, you'll never see another ad, and that's really cool. So as long as you don't let it hit a combo target with the fall, you won't see the ad. So kill the ad immediately, or as quick as you can, and then save all your holy waters, tank abilities, and taunts and whatever else to redirect those fall hits. Another one I forgot to talk about is the fact that the fall cannot hit rank 4. It may seem like it can because you have, for instance, a Plague Doctor in the back. The Exemplar can hit you with Prelude, pull that unit up, and then hit them with the fall. But the fall, you can even go back and see it on the picture that we have. It cannot hit rank 4. Plus, he only gets one worship from eating the dude. That's why I don't really care too much. But yeah, so since the fall can't hit rank 4, if you have a a trophy like the general trophy that immobilizes you, or if you have some other way to immobilize your team or put it back in position with movement skills and all that, you can watch Bello take off that riposte. Good job, Shuff. Thanks, Shuff. But anyway, you can leave your tank or something in the back. Like, that's another thing you could do, is if you can find a way to immobilize your man-at-arms in rank 4 with like the trophy, for instance, you can just spam taunts the whole freaking time, and you kept getting hit by the prelude and then the fall, and then actually you can't get hit by the fall, you just get hit by the prelude. You never see the fall. So there are a lot of ways to handle this fight, and so I guess we should recap a little bit before we get out of here. So things to watch out for: it's the prelude into fall combo. That's what kills people. So you need to have some kind of tank or defensive measure that can jump in there and disrupt it. And sometimes your units jump in the way, and no one likes that. But yeah, so if you're disrupting prelude fall combos, you're golden. If you are stacking blight resist on your tanks or your entire party, the fall becomes much less dangerous. It's actually very hard for the boss to kill you with a back-to-back at that point, because there's no damage over time, so you're not at risk of dying on your turn. So it's like, unless the fall death stores you, you're okay. And then killing the ads. So As long as you're slowing down exaltation, the ad pressure won't feel too high. And if you want to kill the ad, you can. Just make sure you're able to disrupt the fall so it never goes off and it never summons again. Or, as you see here, no worship, right? Man-at-Arms took that hit. We're good. Either ignore the ad, kill the ad, do whichever, take a bunch of blight resist, take a tank. This is a fight that kind of seems like a damage race, but it's actually a very good control fight. So if you know the pattern of the boss and how it likes to operate, you can really make this thing pretty chill. Like, it's kind of scary right now, but this is like fresh profile and, you know, limited stuff. And I don't feel like I understood the boss as well as I do now, you know? So I definitely got better at this fight as time has gone on. And then the other thing you have to watch out for is the 75% deathblow resist. So when it starts getting ready to die, you need to make sure that you have some kind of thing that bypasses DBR or damage over time effects that you can stack on it. So you're just checking its death blow constantly, because it usually doesn't go down the first hit. So you gotta be careful about that. Anyway, I think that's it. Like I said, most teams can do it. It's really just your tank. You need, I don't say you need a tank, but having blight resist on someone that can like draw fire is good. That's like the easiest way to handle it. And then any healing items and stuff like that is just a bonus. My parting words are, don't be afraid, or not don't be afraid, but don't be disappointed if, you know, you die to Exemplar. It's a tough fight. It's there for a reason. It will probably beat you a couple times if you haven't fought it before, so don't feel bad. If you're starting a new profile, it'll probably, you know, be very difficult at first. Don't feel bad. You know, once you get a couple items, you understand the strategies, then the boss goes down pretty consistently, you know. But obviously mistakes can happen. But that's it for the video. Sorry if it was long-winded or anything like that. I think we did okay. But yeah, so that's how you fight Exemplar. Let me know what you're thinking down below. Let me know if there's something I missed. Got any other questions, feel free to ask or drop into Discord. Join the subreddit. Bring your beautiful self there. And let me know what else you guys want to see. Someone asked for character guides. Maybe we should do some. I don't know. But yeah. Stay tuned. All that. I'll see you next time.